So the CEO of the Restaurant and Catering Industry Association, Wes Lambert. Wes, thanks very much for your time. We heard from Andrew there some of the key points, but in your words and in the industry's words, what are the key elements to this proposal that have been put to some of the state premiers?
Well, first I'd like to say that we've been working with tourism and hospitality associations on the path back, including ACCI, who have convened the Tourism Restart Task Force. And what's important to understand about our submission to both the premiers, including the Queensland government and the federal parliament, is it's a list of the sensible things that restaurants will most likely need to do to ensure that patrons feel safe, but also items that are reasonable and relatively inexpensive for restaurants to do, to undertake in a relatively quick amount of time.
So things like we said, cutlery that can be thrown away, menus laminated to be wiped down, or temporary menus like blackboards and so on. That thinking outside the square to make sure that there's less contact between customers and staff.
Absolutely. So when you think about downloading the COVID Safe app, it is paramount. It's so important that the government is able to track any outbreaks. And when you think about a restaurant, there's so many touch points. And everyone in a restaurant, for the most part, is unrelated. So when you get 20, 30, 50, 100 unrelated people in a room, it's very important that that business is able to track those individuals, or the government's be able to track those individuals if an outbreak occurs in that particular business. So we're asking that if you don't have the app, that you have a booking, or you sign in at the door into an app or into the restaurant like you normally would if you enter a club. You have to scan your ID to get into a club in most states, and most people have a booking into a restaurant. Only takes a few seconds. You either prove that you have the app on your phone, or you quickly sign in the head of a party or everyone in the party. And then it's about touch points inside restaurants, cafes, caterers, small bars, coffee shops. You know, there's menus, there's cutlery, there's front doors, there's restroom doors, there's waiting areas that require social distancing. In addition, we believe that social distancing in restaurants is the key, not necessarily the arbitrary 1 per 4 square meters. We believe that if the government says social distancing in every other venue, in grocery stores and retail stores, that patrons should also be 1.5 meters away from each other inside restaurants, which will allow restaurants to have between 50 and 60% capacity, depending upon how big they are. And this is what the industry is telling us they need in order to recover from COVID-19, that anything that suggests 25% capacity would be very difficult. In addition, our guidelines have come from anecdotal evidence from around the world, both the WHO and as far as the health and cleaning section, and the other states and countries that have begun to reopen their hospitality and restaurant industries. It's a collective of all of those guidelines. Australia's done such a great job in flattening the curve, and we want to be sure that restaurants continue that great work.
What are your thoughts on the WA government's move to a compulsory hospitality and tourist hygiene and sanitation course for the hospitality and tourism industries?
So we actually agree that there should be a mandated course. In food service, there's food safety supervisor, there's food handler, there's a licensee course for the liquor license. There is already a mechanism and an infrastructure in place that is usually managed by the state and local councils. We do believe that it should be mandated in each state that a micro-credential is undertaken. We're actually working on our micro-credential for restaurant and catering. We're an RTO. They'll be very inexpensive. Ultimately, if they're more than $20 or $25 and take more than a few hours, then it's going too far. But it's very important that businesses can prove to their local councils and to the state government that they actually understand the critical nature of safety provisions that must be undertaken to prevent COVID-19.
Wes Lambert, the CEO of Restaurant and Catering Association. We hope that you and the industry can get back on its feet very, very soon.